Hey everyone, what's up? I totally want to do these posts, but I'm just going to have to eventually just work my way back and because I want to keep up to date on some of these things. And what kind of sucks is the fact that some of the stuff that I've talked about in these posts that I never have got around to making videos to, it makes some of this stuff make a little bit more sense in these newer ones. But I can still do a few videos and explain it, but it just I wish I had these other videos because then I could, leave a link to that video and you could see what I'm talking about. And I mean, I always leave a link to my blog. I just don't think a lot of people will go and read it, and I think that sometimes it's not as detailed as me explaining what I wrote in the blog. Sometimes I don't write everything that I'm thinking just because it's so repetitive all the time. You're talking about the same thing over and over, and sometimes I don't always retype everything. So I guess the reason that I'm making a video about this is because I always talk about these comments that they just seem odd to me. I don't know if it's a legit person or not. And at the time, right now I'm not that worried about it if it is or not. It seems like when I get comments like this, it leads me to find information about something that I never knew before, And so who knows? But a couple days ago, I got a message and it was from this person, and they even say, I know it's going to be spam because I left a link in the video, right? And they left a link in the video, and I'm just really confused as to why that link is left in the video, like what the purpose is, because all it is it takes you to a video of a cover of the song Zombie by the Cranberries, and this person, possibly they're associated with it and they're just advertising it, but it sure doesn't seem that way. When you go and look, it says that it's two people named Alex and May, and this is Jimmy Aginian or whatever. So it just seems weird that they're like promoting this video about Zombie and the Cranberries. Like, I just don't get the purpose of what that video has to do with anything that I'm talking about in these videos, And the one I got today was on my How to Gematria video, and I noticed I have 42 likes on the video, right? Freebase it equals 42. And I also noticed that I even put it out on a date numerology of 33. Interesting, I mean, it's also the 46th day of the year. And in regards to all the reverse stuff, the word Catholic equals 46, I've been super duper feel like I've been being shown the Jesuit stuff. Everything seems to sync up to the Jesuit anniversary on September 27th. But anyway, Jesus died age 33. The 42 generations leading up to Jesus, the 42 line Bibles. Also, only about 2 weeks ago, I think that it was on July or June 15th, Zachary K. Hubbard on his blog, Free to Find Truth, posted a post about the song Zombie and the Cranberries and whatnot. And now this person's sending me a link to a cover of the song. And let's look at this video really quick too. It just seems really strange here. It's tons of one eye symbolism in this video. I'm using a handheld mic so you can't hear the sound, but I mean, this is how the video starts off. I don't even know. A ton of auto-tune put on the vocals and whatnot. It's not really a terrible version of the song, but like, here you go. More one eye symbolism. I don't know. It seems really strange that they would leave me a link to this song. And honestly, if you don't know what I'm talking about either, if you're new to the channel, whatever, go to this video right here, How to Gematria, and get a better understanding of the world we live. It explains what I am talking about. And also, I'm going to be talking a lot about numbers here. And gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words that is used by the Freemasons, the people who control you, you know, the people who control the media, they control the sports leagues. I also was thinking about the name of this channel. It's Iowa, right? Iowa. And I don't know, possibly nothing. Just something I'm thinking about because I live in Iowa. And later on, I'll mention a little bit about Herbert Hoover. And, you know, he was the president during the Great Depression, the only president from Iowa, the president during the stock market crash. Who knows? Iowa, maybe that's not even how you pronounce it. But that's, when I look at it, that's what I think, Iowa. Another reason that I was interested in this video here is because just last night or 2 nights ago, whenever I made my last video, I was talking about the death of Stilo Brim on the TV show Ridiculousness, his 3-year-old nephew drowned in a pool and whatnot. And I discovered something that I had never noticed before, and I didn't even mention it in the video. I wrote it in the description. But there's something going on with Carrie, and I made a whole bunch of blog posts, and that's why I wish I could make some of these blog posts talking about the death of Adam West and Batman. And there's something significant about Jim Carrey. You know, he's in the movie The Number 23 where he uses gematria. He's the Riddler in Batman, and the Riddler in that movie with Val Kilmer, he even uses gematria in his riddles, and that's how Batman figures out who the Riddler actually is. It's Edward Nygma. Actually, I'll just come to that post really quick. You know, Jim Carrey's in so much interesting stuff in regards to, you know, the Illuminati or whatever you want to call it, you know. Even the Truman Show about him being a complete slave, you know, and being watched constantly and doesn't even know that he's being watched until he finally figures it out and becomes awake. Anyway, on Batman, he notices that all of the puzzles have numbers in them. Like this one says, we're 5 little items on an everyday sort. But all of the puzzles that he gets, they all have numbers in them. 13, then 1, then 8, then 5. And then him and Alfred go on and they say, well, possibly they're used as letters. And Alfred says, well, M is the 13th letter, right? So M13A1, and they get it all out. And then Batman says, well, 1 and 8 make 18. So maybe that's what it is. And then he says, Mr. E, right? Because R is the 18th letter, 1 and 8, R, Mr. E. And then they're like, what's another name for mystery? It's Enigma. And then they figure it out. Mr. Enigma. That's what the Riddler's puzzle was. The Riddler, and his real name is Edward Nygma. So, I mean, they've literally been showing you gematria in movies, especially movies with Jim Carrey, you know? That's what's so interesting about it. But they've been showing it to you. You know it's being used. I've proven it multiple times. But moral of the story, some weird stuff in my own life. I've been documenting about The Price is Right too. For whatever the reason, I've been drawn to The Price is Right. I showed how The Price is Right equals 102 in gematria. And also Drew Carey, the host of The Price is Right now, his name equals 102 in gematria. And just the other night, I realized Jim Carrey, and his name's spelled with 2 R's, Jim Carrey equals 102 in gematria. And I also talked about how, while I was documenting all of this, I had a DJ gig for the Carey family the night before Father's Day. So I feel like I'm supposed to be seeing the number 102. 100. And it's interesting because earlier this year, everything in my life was all about the number 166. It was synced up to the Super Bowl, all kinds of stuff. And if you write out 102, it equals 166. But moving on, I was thinking about all these 102s, and I knew that Al-Qaeda equaled 102 in Jewish gematria. The World Trade Center attacks supposedly lasted 102 minutes. United States of America with the S exception equals 102. And in the video last night, I even mentioned about the Cardinal George Pell, who got accused of child molesting and whatnot. And if you've been on my blog, I've been documenting a bunch of stuff in regards to Catholic priests, the Jesuits. I even talked about the priest who supposedly molested me, Father Fitzgerald, and also the priest that came after him who died in a bathtub, who was a Jesuit, and he died coded by the number 63 to the Jesuit anniversary, and he died in a bathtub, right? And then all of a sudden in the media, we got a story about the USS Fitzgerald, and then we got a story about the one of the fathers of the people who died. And I was talking about Father's Day and fathers. It's just ridiculous. And then all of a sudden we get a story about Cardinal George Pell being accused. And in the video last night, I noted that George Pell equals 102. And they made sure to let us know he's from Australia. Australia equals 102. I still haven't taken the time to look more into it because I keep getting distracted by things like this. But I noticed that his court date is also July 18th, 18/7. Society of Jesus equals 187. It's all planned like that, you know. I also noted World War equals 102 in reverse. And this year, a lot of stuff in regards to reverse has been going on. So who really knows? You know, just noting World War equals 102. Key of David equals 102. Key of David is super significant. And it's also why I think that Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors won the NBA Finals this year. It's a big piece to the puzzle. Kevin Durant in Jewish gematria equals 1,189. And Donald J. Trump equals 1,189 in Jewish gematria. Key of David equals 1,189 in Jewish gematria. And if you recall, Pope Francis's 1,189th day as being the Pope was on Donald Trump's 70th birthday. And remember, there was 1,189 chapters in the King James Bible. Donald Trump and Pope Francis, their birthdays are 187 days apart. Society of Jesus. Trump went to Fordham University, a Jesuit university. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope. Or supposedly, that's what we're told, you know. Even though I'm positive that, you know, the popes for a very, very long time have all been connected to Freemasonry and, you know, Jesuits. And they're all interrelated. They're all one and the same, but they want you to think that they're two different things. So anyway, all of this 102, and I noticed this video was put out on February 10th, which in most parts of the world, they're at the date 10/2, a lot like 102. Also, the video is 3 minutes, 24 seconds long, and February 10th is the day that leaves 324 days in the year. And I'll leave a link in the description to a video about the angel Gabriel, and there's all of these connections to my life, and I feel like I'm being shown stuff through this connection to the angel Gabriel and whatnot. And Gabriel in Sumerian gematria equals 324. Iowa equals 54. Gabriel, the big way, equals 54. And the name of this video, Zombie by Iowa, equals 61 and also 151, which is interesting because Jesus equals 61 and Jesus Christ equals 151. And in the Bible, Gabriel only comes to Daniel, Zechariah, and Mary. And that gets even more interesting in regards to this post because the lead singer of the Cranberries was actually named Dolores because of the 7 sorrows of Mary or whatever, the 7 Dolores. And I mean, just think about that in regards to Zach posted this about the Cranberries. Now somebody's showing me this stuff in regards to the Cranberries, and then she's named after the Virgin Mary. I mean, I'm telling you, there are people who are using this knowledge, you know, in a negative way, but I feel like by getting weird comments like this, something is helping me helping me to see things that I never understood before. And, you know, I guess it makes sense when you read about Kabbalah and Kabbalah being, you know, using this system to understand God, the infinity, the Ein Sof, or however you pronounce it. And then Gabriel, you know, God's messenger. It's just super interesting to me. Anyway, so this, I'm pretty sure Zach talked about this in his post. Actually, I know he did. But on Wikipedia, they write some weird stuff in here. Zombie is composed in the key of E minor with a tempo of 84 beats per minute. And Jesuit equals 84. That's what the Society of Jesus is. The Jesuits. Jesuit 84. The Cranberries in Gematria equal 145. The word Catholic equals 145 in reverse. I also, you know, I never listened to this song until the night, but another song that they have that was on the same album as Zombie is called Ridiculous Thoughts. I think it was the 4th single on the album. Just pretty interesting because the video where I had like an epiphany of this 102 in regards to Carrie and whatnot. It was about ridiculousness, the TV show Ridiculousness or whatever. And I even noticed that in the video I said ridiculous a whole bunch of times without even realizing that I was doing it. And then I listened to it and then I thought, what in the world? You know, I'm not even trying to like do that, and then it happens, you know. But Ridiculous Thoughts in Gematria equals 102. And think about the song Zombie too. In your head, in your head. You know, it's like thinking about your thoughts, ridiculous thoughts, ridiculousness. And I've documented lots of times lately where it's almost as if I don't control my own thoughts or something. Like, I'll be sitting there thinking about something, and then all of a sudden something in my life happens to it in regards to it. For example, earlier tonight, my girlfriend's pregnant again. If I don't know if I actually mentioned that on any of these videos, but there's some really strange stuff that goes along with that as well. But tonight I was sitting there with her and we were watching, I turned on Tosh.0 or something, and like had no idea what it was about, but just before I did that, we were talking about, she was talking about how her sister wants to have a baby reveal party or something like that, you know? And I turned the channel to Tosh.0. Tosh.0 had a bit of this guy crying because his girlfriend gave him a pregnancy test. And then they did this whole, another thing about the word girl, and girl used to actually be, I can't even remember what it was. It was something to do with a girl. So, I mean, if she has a girl, it's just be weird stuff, you know? And what are the odds? You know, she literally is mentioning this to me. I randomly turn the channel to something it's not even a rerun, or maybe it was. I've never watched it before. And it turns onto a part that is exactly what we're talking about. Stuff like that happens to me every single day. And I just pay attention to it now. And then I try to figure out what the meaning of it is. Most people would just say, oh, what a coincidence, never think about it. But it's been happening so much lately that I think about it. If I don't document it, I try to remember it, or I write it in my little notepad if I don't put it on this blog. Just so many weird things like that. And something happened when I was making this blog post that I'm going to talk about. And it's all about possibly, I don't know, something to do with the Pope assassination. But anyway, I looked up the song Zombie because I knew it was a protest to the Warrington bomb attacks. Just interesting, Warrington. Maybe that's not how you pronounce it either, but that's what it looks like to me. But one thing I didn't know was that these bombings, they began on February 26, 1993, which is also the same day that the World Trade Center got bombed. February 26th of 1993. I don't know if it's going to load here. Well, I can't get it to load. This picture just won't load for whatever the reason. Just You can look it up for yourself. So these bombings began on the same day as the World Trade Center bombing in 1993. And in Gematria, Warrington bomb attacks. That's why they have it written here on Wikipedia. It equals 84, like Jesuit. And in the reverse reduced method, it equals 132, like Catholic Church. Just like England equals 132, United States of America equals 132, Roman Catholic equals 132. I even talked about a bunch of stuff with Queen Elizabeth in a video or so ago. Or maybe it was the one from yesterday that I haven't posted yet. But she even became the queen 132 days after the Jesuit anniversary. Her name equals 84, like Jesuit. Like United States of America as well. Equals 84 the small way. It also said the people responsible for the Warrington bomb attacks were the Provisional Irish Republican Army. And if you write that out in Gematria, 187, just like Society of Jesus. The first attack on 2/26 was, I don't know why it won't put these pictures up there, but the first attack was 7 months, 1 day before the Jesuit anniversary in 1993. The word Catholic equals 71. All right, well, I'm going to pause the video and try to figure out why my internet doesn't work here. Well, who knows? I think it's working again. Well, that doesn't even make it any better anyway. But anyway, so the first attack was 7 months, 1 day before the Jesuit anniversary. Catholic equals 71. The second one happened on March 20th, 191 days before the Jesuit anniversary. Remember, Society of Jesus equals 191. I mean, the people responsible equal the same as Society of Jesus. I think we know who's responsible for this. And of course, the Jesuits are infiltrated into Freemasonry. It's all one and the same. I also noticed that the two victims, and this is what the song by the Cranberries is even like a tribute to, the two child victims that died in these attacks, 3-year-old Jonathan Ball, and also the second victim, 12-year-old Tim Perry. Now, a 3-year-old and a 12-year-old. This number, 312, I've been talking about a whole lot in regards to Pope Francis, the Jesuits. Pope equals 312 in Sumerian. Pope Francis's real name equals 312 in reverse. Francis Xavier, one of the founders of the Jesuits, his birthday or his death day, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now, is December 3rd, 3/12. The Ignatius of Loyola, he became a saint on March 12th, 3/12. He's the main guy who founded the Jesuits. Even this year will be the 477th anniversary of the Jesuits. If you write out 477, it equals 312. I also talked about the angel Michael in regards to this number, 312 as well. A bunch of stuff, all because of Rihanna, who was her big thing going on in the game 1 of the NBA Finals. That was 3 months and 12 days after her birthday on 2/20. Pope Francis, his birthday is 2 months, 20 days after the Jesuit anniversary. Also 81 days, and he'll be 81 years old. I also mentioned the date of July 8th, possibly being something significant, because it's 81 days before the Jesuit anniversary. The word Jesuit in reverse equals 78, a lot like July 8th. Anyway, right as I was typing this up about Pope Francis and whatnot, just before this, I think I typed up this part, and then it's really hot still downstairs, and our big air conditioner broke, so I was like, I'm going to go upstairs and sit in the air conditioner for a while in the bedroom because we have a window air conditioner. And my girlfriend and my daughter are sleeping in the bed, and I went up and I was sitting in the chair, and I was typing this up, and I was still kind of researching, but I was typing this, and right as I was typing this, I heard the TV say something about stopping the Pope from being assassinated. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, the TV show Archer was on because my girlfriend, I don't know what she was watching before this, but she hates this show. So the reason this is on, I don't know. Whatever she was watching on before, probably Futurama or The Simpsons, or that's about all she ever watches. But this show must have been on after whatever she was watching, and then she was sleeping. So just really strange. You know, I didn't even think about looking at the TV. It's just I went up there and sat down. I'm always on my computer, you know, when I'm at home. So anyway, you know, like, what are the odds? It's about a Pope assassination. I'm like writing something about the Pope. And I decided to look this episode up. It says on the TV it's episode 42, which is interesting. But when I looked it up, it says it is episode 47, season 4, episode 11. It's about assassinating the Pope. The word assassin in Jewish gematria even equals 411. The TV show is called Archer. Archer equals 35. The word Catholic, the small way, equals 35. The episode was called The Papal Chase. And the Papal Chase in gematria equals 52, just like the word Pope. It also came out 15 days after Pope Francis became the Pope. So interesting, you know. In regards to Pope Francis, this episode was actually out when he was the Pope. I also pointed out, if you write out assassination in reverse gematria, it equals 191, just like Society of Jesus. Assassination attempt, that's what this episode was actually about, equals 132 in the reverse reduced, just like Catholic Church and so on. This TV show also currently only has 93 episodes, right? And I'm talking about the World Trade Center bombing in 93, and also, you know, the Warrington bombings in 93. And what's interesting too, look when it came out. 5/24 this year, 2017. That's the day that Donald Trump went and met Pope Francis. And it's also season 8, episode 8, Trump in gematria equals 88. This date, very special in regards to JFK being assassinated as well. JFK's died 5 months, 24 days after his birthday. He also died just after meeting the Pope. It was 144 days after meeting the Pope. This is the 144th day of the year. JFK also the first Catholic Pope. I believe the first and last Catholic Pope, right? Catholic equals 35. He's the 35th president. And in regards to reverse gematria being so popular and everything else, it just makes me wonder if it's going to be the reverse of JFK. You know, Donald Trump met the Pope. Now is Pope Francis possibly going to be assassinated? You know, the reverse of what happened with JFK. If you watch my priest video, I talk a lot about the number 63 too in regards to the Jesuits. And that was the year that JFK was assassinated on the 326th day of the year. That's a huge number in regards to the angel Gabriel. Anyway, season 8, episode 8, Trump equals 88, Warrington, England equals 88. The lead singer of the Cranberries, Dolores Riordan, or however you pronounce it, equals 88 in reverse reduced. And I talked about Wikipedia mentioning that the song is in E minor with 84 beats per minute. E minor equals 88 in reverse. Just the word Dolores also equals 88. Donald Trump and Pope Francis, they have a lot of interesting connections. Donald Trump's birthday to the Jesuit anniversary, a span of 3 months, 13 days. The day that Pope Francis became the Pope was March 13th of the year 2013. And if you go from that day to the Jesuit anniversary, a span of 6 months, 14 days, Donald Trump born on June 14th, 614. He turned 71 years old this year. Catholic equals 71. Trump's national convention in Cleveland last year was on July 18th, 18/7, 187 days before he became the president. So just crazy stuff. Also on Wikipedia, it talks about the aftermath of the Warrington bombings. The aftermath says that there was the UDA. Let's read what it says. On March 24th, 1993, the UDA shot dead a, however you say that, Sinn Féin member in Belfast. The next day, it shot dead 4 Catholic men, including an IRA member in Castle Rock, and hours later, shot dead a 17-year-old Catholic civilian in Belfast. You know, how interesting. Connected to Catholics, right? A 17-year-old Catholic, the word God equals 17. And interesting, too, is on March 24th, 3/24, 2/10, the day that leaves 324 days of the year. The video that I'm talking about in the beginning of this video, 3 minutes, 24 seconds long. So also, you know, they waited 4 days then. Well, 4 days would make it 187 days before the Jesuit anniversary. Remember, Society of Jesus equals 187 in reverse. The Warrington bombings came to an end on March 20th, 191 days before the Jesuit anniversary. Society of Jesus, the frontwards way equals 191. I mean, how ridiculous. If you look at the UDA, it also talks about how they've killed over 400 people, mostly Irish Catholics. Mostly Irish Catholics, Catholic civilians killed at random in what the group called retaliation for IRA actions or attacks on Protestants. Once again, you know, it goes clear back to what I've talked about. You know, King Henry VIII in Gematria, his name equals 191. He wanted to get a divorce, and the Pope who completely excommunicated him was Pope Paul III. Pope Paul III was also the Pope when the Jesuits began in 1540. Still keeping people divided with this fake Catholic versus Protestant thing, when in reality it's really just the same people controlling both sides of it. I also noted that they had the Good Friday Agreement that, you know, supposedly brought peace and whatnot, and that was in the year 1998 on April 10th. If you go from the day of the second bombing, March 20th, so the end of these attacks, to the day they're supposedly peace, 5 years, 21 days. And the 521st, or the 98th prime number is 521, and this happened in the year 98, so just something to point out. But also, Good Friday Agreement, what they call it on here, equals 102 in Gematria. I opened up another YouTube tab because I was going to go and watch the original Cranberries video, and I wanted to watch the other one, Ridiculous Thoughts. And when I opened it up, I noticed that it said 187 in my tab. And I was like, what in the world? And I started looking at all my other YouTube tabs. 187 is listed in every one of them, you know, like Society of Jesus. And I don't know if that's like, I'm assuming that means I have that many notifications. I don't know what it means, honestly. I don't know what 180... I think it means something to my notifications. So, who knows? Just interesting that it would be 187. I also looked up the lead singer a little bit more. She was born on 9/6 of the year 71. Remember, Catholic equals 71. Freemason equals 96. It also even says that she got married on July 18th, which could be 18/7, a lot like 187. I mean, just read through some of this stuff. She was raised Roman Catholic. Her mother was a devout Catholic who chose her name in reference to the Lady of the Seven Dolors, which is a reference to the Virgin Mary and her 7 sorrows. And that's interesting in itself, just because a lot of the Gabriel stuff that I've mentioned has to do with the number 7. We even, on the USS Fitzgerald that I was talking about, it was the 7 missing sailors. A couple days before that, we got the story of a sailor that was missing for 7 days. The USS Fitzgerald one was also the 7th Fleet they kept mentioning. But in regards to the Gabriel stuff I was talking about, it was stuff connected to the movie The Ring and also the movie Arrival, where the 7-limbed aliens come to Earth and they try to show people a different concept of time and whatnot. A bunch of stuff with it, but the 7-limbed aliens, The Ring is all about 7 days. There's supposedly 7 archangels. Another interesting thing in regards to this kind of, because I just want to show you what it says on this Iowa's music channel here. It talks about Alex and May started to make music together in the summer of 2016, blah, blah, blah. So the people in it are Alex and May. In Gematria, if you just type Alex May in there, it equals 326 in Gematria, which this is the big number. Check the link in the description, but it's this big number in regards to the angel Gabriel that I have mentioned. And look at the movie. Arrival equals 326. The Ring in Gematria also equals 326. This number that is associated with Gabriel. I mean, they have pretty close to identical Gematria in multiple forms. Even the number 81, remember Pope Francis's 81st birthday, 81 days after the Jesuit anniversary this year. 326 is the Synaxis of Gabriel, March 26th. And there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, I'll leave the link in the description. My girlfriend's name, last name even equals 326 in Satanic. And, it's interesting in regards to what Gabriel did in the Bible. He talked about the birth of John the Baptist, and he also told Mary that she was going to birth Jesus Christ or whatever, So, interesting stuff. Anyway, back to the lead singer of the Cranberries. Look at this. So, she also admires Pope John Paul II after meeting him inside Vatican City, blah, blah, blah. She loved him, blah, 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 Like, what are the odds of that? She actually met the Pope, and then she was invited by Pope Benedict to the Vatican's annual Christmas concerts, and she performed there in 2001, 2002, and also 2005. So she's met Pope Benedict and also Pope John Paul II. And the other thing that Wikipedia mentions in regards to her is that she got arrested after this flight on November 10th, 2014, on a flight from New York to Shannon. Just interesting. That's my birthday. That's the 314th day of the year. That was my 32nd birthday. The word, I think Shannon equals 32. Let me find it here. I thought I posted it. Yeah, Shannon equals 32. The date numerology of my 32nd birthday, also 35, like the word Catholic. And if you recall, in one of my videos not too long ago, I even mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention it in the video, it's on my blog though, Pope John Paul II died age 84, right? And the word Jesuit equals 84. He's the only pope to visit Iowa, right? Think about that in regards to Iowa. And there's a whole bunch more to it. Even like the diocese that he came to was in, Des Moines, Iowa, but that's the same like section that where I live. And Des Moines, I think it's Des Moines, Iowa equals 151, like Jesus Christ. I mean, who knows? I know I talked about it somewhere, but it made me start thinking about the stock market crash that I've talked about a lot, or at least I've built it up for the last year or so. I've noticed that this year is going to be the 88th anniversary of the stock market crashing. Trump equals 88. Herbert Hoover, he was the only president from Iowa, but he was the president when the stock market crash happened. Herbert Hoover, H is the 8th letter, HH, 88. And this would be 88 years later. And I noticed if you write out Herbert Hoover's full name, Herbert Clark Hoover, it equals 102. And he died on 10/20. That's very similar to 102, like I was mentioning in the very beginning of the video. You know, Iowa's the 29th state, the only president from Iowa, Herbert Hoover. He became the president in 1929. Iowa, the 29th state. It even has Interstate 29 that goes all the way through it from north to south. Kinnick Stadium opened in 1929. I'm pretty sure that's why the stock market crash happened on the 29th of October as well. October equals 78 in gematria. Herbert Hoover, the small way, equals 78 in gematria. Jesuit equals 78. I don't even remember what video it was, but I just talked about 70. It was the Queen Elizabeth video in regards to the 78% raise that she's getting. So who knows? 7-8 seems seemingly a day to watch out for to me. I guess, we'll see. We'll see if we get any big news stories on that day or whatever else. It's the, 7-8, the 188th day of the year as well. Illuminati equals 100, or Bavarian Illuminati equals 188. Adam Weishaupt, went to a Jesuit school and everything else. So possibly a day to look for. I also pointed out stock market crash equals 185, just like cranberries in reverse, just like Donald John Trump. And also Pope Benedict, his real name is Joseph Ratzinger, that equals 191, like the Society of Jesus. So I'm going to leave it at that. I really need to go to bed. It's like almost 4 in the morning, and I got to work at 9. I got so much stuff to do. I probably won't even make that many blog posts this weekend. I got tons of stuff going on. I have 6 gigs between my band and DJing in the next 5 days. So hopefully I'll be able to get some posts out and whatnot. But I wanted to make this video really fast because, well, not really fast, but I just wanted to make this video because some weird stuff happened. I can always go back and re-talk about some of these other ones. So peace. Have a good one. Good night.